You wrote, "I'd been the most successful executive in film and television over most of the last 10 years, and yet I'd just been duped into joining a soon-to-be bankrupt company." You go on to say, "What do you do when you realize you've made an agreement with a con man?" And in comes Rupert.
Yes.
How did you navigate that period?
Well, I had gone from Paramount, which was very successful. It had really led the movie business of the 10 years I was there, it led it for the latter 7 years. And I left Paramount to go to Fox. And when I got to Fox, I realized that I had been fraudulently brought into a situation that was actually a bankrupt entity.
Yet it was a very attractive situation going into it.
Superficially, it was 20th Century Fox. Greatest studio lot, fantastic history, etc. Unfortunately, a con man, Marvin Davis, who'd put up almost no money to buy it and leveraged the rest of it, wouldn't put up any more money, and the banks were calling due on the loans, and there I was. And so my solution to it was to get Mr. Davis to sell the company to someone else. That someone else was Rupert Murdoch. And that's when Rupert came into my life.
What was involved with convincing Rupert to bet the company? And why have you said before his risk appetite is far greater than yours will ever be?
Buying Fox was not the thing of risking betting his company. But shortly after he bought into Fox, this is really, I think, before the ink was even dry, we got the opportunity. I'd always wanted to start a fourth network.
For a long time.
Yeah. But we couldn't get the financing and this and that. But through this serendipitous moment, it looked like we could get a group of television stations that could be the backbone of building a network. And people tried to build a beyond the 3 networks for decades. Every one of them had failed. I thought that the 3 networks were now all programming in the same kind of way without any diversity. And I thought, we could build an alternative network. One day when Rupert happened to be passing from Australia to New York, again, before the deal probably even closed for him buying, at that time, half the company, in walked someone who owned these stations who was willing to sell them, and Rupert happened to be passing through, and I invited him to this, what I thought was a meeting just to chat, and it became apparent that we could do this, and after he left, the seller left, I said, I've always wanted to start a fourth network, and I went on for 5 minutes or so about what I thought it could be, and now this is in '84, when $1 billion was a lot of money. And that was what it was going to cost. And Rupert said, yeah, I'll bet the company.
I mean, you're thinking what at the time?
I'm thinking I'm dealing with a crazy person.
Really? And you said if he's on site and he's engaged, he's the most stimulating collaborator. How so?
He's the shrewdest and best gambler. This is a person who started with a single newspaper in Adelaide, Australia. And in Australia, within 10 years or so, became the biggest newspaper man in the entire country with dozens and dozens of papers all over, et cetera, and magazines. Then he goes to the UK and he does it all over again. Comes to the United States, buys an interest in Fox, finances me to build the fourth network. So on 3 hemispheres, the shrewdest gambler, but one who actually enjoyed the thrill of betting his enterprise. That's how much conviction and toughness is inside the man. And while I'm not a supporter of Fox News, which I had nothing to do with, that happened after I left Fox.
Introduced Rupert to Roger Ailes.
I did introduce him to Ailes. But anyway, I have such respect for him as the most supportive person when you're trying to build a new idea. And he's launched so many new ideas in media that are, it's just almost unimaginable.
How did Home Alone save the company from bankruptcy?
Well, Rupert, being, as I say, this gambler, overextended himself time and again, and almost always was able to come through it. But one time in the early 90s, I think 90, 91, there was a particular market disruption of some kind, and he had borrowed too much money. And he had so many banks, and there was like 80 banks, and they had to each agree to extend his loans. And they really weren't going to do it. And the company was running out of money. And at Fox...
You deferred taking your bonus for a long time?
Yeah. At Fox, we made this movie called Home Alone. And literally the cash flow... Fox was kind of on... News Corp, the parent company, was on fumes. It was the cash from Home Alone that actually saved his company.
How do you think things would be different had Rupert bought CNN?
You mean and not started Fox? Mm-hmm. Well, we tried, by the way.
Right.
Rupert and I went down and had dinner with Ted Turner when Ted Turner was on fumes, and Ted Turner wouldn't sell to us. What would have happened is he would have turned CNN into Fox News. What we know of today as Fox News. I think that would have been a terrible thing. I mean, at least we have CNN now, even though CNN is, I think, kind of bedraggled. We have CNN and trying to compete pitifully at the moment with Fox News.